couldn't get my Rumble link to work. I don't know if Rumble is down, but want to talk about the TPUSA AmFest event. A lot to unpack there with that event and the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination, of course. It has turned into an absolute shit show, and it's disappointing to see. If you don't know, I was a Charlie Kirk fan. I have had criticisms of him, but did very favorable coverage of Charlie Kirk for much of the channel. Very bright young man. Very sad to see his voice go. And you're seeing the importance of his voice now. The big lesson from TPUSA, and I'll just play some clips and react, is if your movement doesn't have a clear message, if there's no clear reason for your movement other than, and I'm using TPUSA as an example now, there was no clear reasoning or purpose for TPUSA other than to acquire political power. That's literally the whole purpose of the organization. There was no goals beyond that. It was amassing political power. That's why you loosely associated with MAGA. It was basically a MAGA group. The tent kept getting wider and wider and wider and wider. Ben Shapiro did a speech. He said, your movement has to have borders. TPUSA, I didn't know where the borders were with that group. So what that means is you can be easily manipulated. This is what I talked about with MAGA. What does Make America Great Again mean? It doesn't mean anything. It's too vague. That's why I narrow it down. I know it's very hard to acquire political power. It's the battle of, I've got to reach people. Kendrick Lamar is a backpack rapper at his core. But how do you reach people? You water down the product. You water down the product. Until enough people support you, then you can rise into money and power. And hopefully you're still proud of the product you make. I mean, this is not a Kendrick Lamar diss, but that's what the classic backpack rapper thing is. And that's what Kanye West has gone through his whole career. Kanye West, that's one of the reasons I highly respect Kanye West. Kanye West, to me, is the same. He's evolved, but he's the same dude that was giving Talib Kweli beat tapes wearing a backpack after the show before anyone knew who he was or before he had really blown up. He's the same dude. He didn't want to he watered down the product to reach the masses. But even HH was watered down to reach the masses, but you can still be proud of the work that you're doing, at least that it's true to yourself. So Charlie Kirk watered down the movement, brought in so many people. The movement did not mean anything. His TPUSA movement, MAGA, it's pretty much the same. It did not mean anything other than a vehicle to acquire political power. It didn't draw the lines anywhere. It didn't define anything, nothing substantial. So when you leave it that open, it is susceptible to someone coming in and taking it over. The example I did with MAGA was MAGA. For me personally, my appeal towards MAGA when I had that appeal was distributing power to as many people as possible. So if you look through that, every issue through the lens of that, did you succeed in that? How well did you do at that mantra with every single thing you do? It's a lot harder to infiltrate that movement because you know exactly what the goal is. It doesn't matter if we're talking about transgenderism or the Epstein files or bombing Iran. The question is, how well did you distribute power to as many people as possible as a populist? How well did you do? How well does that bombing, how well did a bombing Iran do? How well does blowing up boats that no one can verify in the Caribbean, allegedly Venezuelan drug boats, how much does that distribute power to as many Americans, and I should say Americans, obviously, should go without saying. How does that do that? It's very easy. You can say, well, what does that even have to do with it? Well, good point. So that's not a part of the movement. So Charlie Kirk, I think, had better intentions than your Donald Trump's even. I think when it came down to it, Donald Trump was just a guy who was out of the club everywhere. He wanted to buy an NFL team. Why? Why couldn't Donald Trump buy all the billionaire owners freezed him out? Why? You would love to have Donald Trump own the football team. I don't know what happened behind the scenes. I don't know why he became persona non grata. Maybe he rubbed people the wrong way. Who knows? But he just always wanted to be in the club. So he ran for president. He said what I wanted to hear. He said what you wanted to hear. Got in the door, amassed power, and now he's getting clawed by Mark Levin. Literally clawed around the shoulder. Are you a sitting president? Come here! Literally claw on the shoulder. That's not 2015 Trump. He was playing an act. He admitted it in his first term after he became president. Charlie Kirk, I think, was a little different in that I believe Charlie Kirk, I believe he fully believed in something, and created TPUSA, but understood what is the purpose of the something. What is the purpose of getting behind the mic? I'm grateful to be behind the mic. I wish I could be more. But what's the purpose behind, if you're Charlie Kirk, of getting behind a mic and not amassing political power when you want to make change? So you start making deals with the devil, basically. And you get the donors in, and the donors want this. And so you compromise on it. And everyone has to make that compromise. When you go to work every day, most people are making compromise. It doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur, you have to make some type of compromise. Tesla and the Cybertruck. I don't know what they're going to do with it. I love the vehicle, but it's not coming the way we thought it was going to sell. It's too expensive to make. They haven't got the cost down. You might have to abandon it or remove it. And that happens. You have to make sacrifices based on the market. Everybody has to do it. I think Charlie Kirk, we read the letter from Charlie Kirk to Benjamin Netanyahu, I believe it was. It was literally from Charlie Kirk to Benjamin. That's how powerful this dude was. People don't write letters like that to Benjamin Netanyahu. Donald Trump doesn't write letters like that to Benjamin Netanyahu. Charlie Kirk wrote the letter to Benjamin Netanyahu, basically speaking to all the Jews, all the Zionist Jews, all the donors, saying, this is what's happening. I know what's happening. This is my job. I'm a relatively young white man. I'm a relatively young white Christian man. I'm telling you what's happening. I'm not trying to make anything up. I'm just giving you guys information. Going forward, this is Charlie Kirk. This is my opinion of the Charlie Kirk letter. He said this allegiance, now I'm paraphrasing, but this is what he meant. He just put it in a political way, and I think that letter was run through ChatGPT, or some type of AI. But the point of it was to say the blind allegiance to Israel and the blind worship of Jews is not going to work anymore in this political world, in this side of the world. I don't know what's going on the left or all that. He's talking about his world, this MAGA world, this TPUSA action, TPUSA world. Charlie Kirk told them this allegiance to Israel and Jews is not going to continue. Once everyone older starts dying off and moving on, it's going to be nothing but people, many of them maybe scared or just don't want to name the Jew like Tucker or whoever else, but they will name Israel, and that is different on that side. Typically, conservatism has revolved and revolved around worship of Israel and protecting Israel. And Charlie Kirk said that's not going to work anymore. And Charlie Kirk, his true power wasn't, why did the donors give him money? Because he had control of the youth, the college campuses. And he's saying, he didn't tell them that, but he's saying, I cannot control the college campuses with these weird takes about Israel and Jews. It ain't happening. So Charlie Kirk, in my opinion, goes to the Jews and all. That's what these discussions were about from just reading on them, is he went to the Jews and said it wasn't about him really abandoning Israel. It was about him saying, if we want to still have power in this world, in this side of the aisle, we have to change the strategy. And he was saying, there ain't nobody who can change the strategy that's acceptable to you all other than me. So I'm going to need some more shekels. That's my interpretation right now. Of course, I could be completely wrong. Can I do my own Candace Owens bit? It doesn't matter. Let's have fun and talk about just looking at it. And I actually do like that. It is fun too. I'm not into the assassination part, but I am into the chess and the politics. I think Charlie Kirk wanted the shekels. They said that allegedly Nick Fuentes reported, and I think Colvette reported it too, if I'm not mistaken, that he had turned down, I don't know, 150, was it million or billion? I don't even remember anymore, but he turned down money. I don't think it was billion. But I think the point was, Charlie was like, that's not enough. I'm the only one. And shortly after that, he took a bullet to his neck, is what happened. So I'm going to just go through some of the clips here. So Charlie Kirk's gone. That creates the classic power void, power gap. And you go to TPUSA, and I don't know what they were marketing it as. I never really followed the marketing for these things very well. Let me see if I can see if Grok knows. Grok, how did they market AmericaFest 2025 this year? What was the purpose of it in the marketing? Did they talk about that at all? I might have my Bluetooth on. So, and the reason I'm bringing up the marketing, I don't know why it's not. I don't hear any audio there. Can you hear me, Grok? Can you hear me? Okay, that's a fail. But I don't know why. Here's why I'm bringing up the marketing. And I don't know what the point of the event was this year. Do they have a slogan? What is the point of AmFest? I think if going into it, the point was a family discussion, it should have been marketed as such. And it should have been presented as such. Because it was stunning to me to see this, and it got kicked off with, no surprise, wait for it, a Jew. I talked about this the last live. It's just uncanny. You look at it, Myron and Nick Fuentes, whatever the relationship, they've kind of talked about it publicly. So not to get into other people's business about their relationship, they've talked about it publicly. Myron recently, if you don't know, had on Milo. And Milo, obviously very smart, very creative, but he's a subversive Jew. He's a nefarious Jew. So Myron has Milo on, and Myron is managed by a subversive, infiltrative Jew. And what happens is now there's a rift between Myron and Fuentes. Who wants a rift between Myron and Nick Fuentes? The subversive, infiltrative Jews that are connected to Myron. You just keep looking at, you just go all over the place. The Aiden Ross thing with the wide receiver. The wide receiver doesn't know really what's going on. He just wants to be cool. The Aiden Ross how is this dude connected? I don't know. He's talented, but it still kind of doesn't make sense to me. Like, who's watching this? What is the appeal here? So the Jew, Aiden Ross, a Jew, does what Jews think are anti-Semitic, the rubbing the hands like Anna Kasparian did, and so he does a touchdown. If you score a touchdown, you can celebrate. I didn't see the whole stream, just the clip that went viral got him in trouble. So you analyze that situation, and I'm going to get to TPUSA. That's why I just want to be able to say it. I have enough evidence to name there's a common denominator here. There's something that we see in every case, or in it's not every single time literally, but in enough times that when you see someone, maybe they're more than 2% of the population because it feels like it. And when it comes to matters of national discussion, they're definitely more than 2% of that. When you have a group that's allegedly 2%, 3% of the population, but it's literally, I mean, we're well over 50% of these big major issues. You see them behind the scenes. We have to talk about it. And that's not Israel. That's something else. Aiden Ross, Jewish, brings on the wide receiver to do the it's the whole thing is started by a Jew. So how is this even a controversy? So it starts with him. The wide receiver didn't even do the touchdown dance. What was even the controversy from that? I don't know. Because he did the handshake thing, or the hand rubbing the hands thing. The Jews in the NFL condemn it. The Jews in the media promote it, condemn it. The Jew influencers pass it around, all that. Those who look at it and criticize it get called anti-Semitic by the same Jew. The whole cycle of the thing is Jewish. Started with a Jew, promoted by a Jew. Nobody cared. And you look at these behind the scenes, and it's a common thread. And you go to TPUSA, and the same thing happens. Ben Shapiro gets on the stage, and he's was he the first speaker? He was the first speaker I saw. I did listen to his full. He's the only speech I listened to in full. But he gets on the stage, and he starts off with vitriol.
You cited during your speech truth as the most important.
This is the USS Liberty clip. That's another side note. But I wanted to get the clip where he's just literally naming names, which I respect. I respect that he's at least naming names. But let's look at it through Candace.
Retarded for having heard it.
Well, Ben, when it comes to you and having worked with you,
I'm going to share this with. I'm going to share the Candace Owens.
Your numbers to make people think that you're popular. So, yeah, I don't have to say we don't know no when it comes to you. You are such a joke of a little man. Your jealousy against Tucker, your ability to believe that you can keep manipulating the markets. You know those kids booed you on that stage. The amount of messages I got from Turning Point USA people saying, what is happening? Why is he on this stage? Standing against everything that Charlie believed in. That's what you're doing. You're standing against everything that Charlie believed in because you weren't his friend. He didn't like you for that very reason. I look at you and I just think you are such a little worm. I could see you right now.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's obviously a massive honor to be here at Turning Point USA. It's even more of an honor to...
It's interesting to note that when I was looking for this, so I'm looking for this speech from Ben Shapiro. Did TPUSA not put it on their website? I don't see. Let's see. Right, that's Right Side Broadcasting. I don't see it on the TPUSA YouTube channel. That's interesting. Unless I'm missing something. I'm seeing okay, is that it here?
Hi.
No, that's not it. That's the question. Interesting. That's very, very interesting. I don't know if that's a coincidence or what, but the only place that I could find it is from Ben Shapiro's channel on his own channel. Ben Shapiro was not publicly announced as a speaker for AmFest this year until after Charlie died. I don't know if he was invited before, but he wasn't on the flyer. He wasn't mentioned publicly before 9/10.
Erika Kirk, a heroic figure and a true American patriot. I really believe that the best way to judge the goodness of a man is to see the goodness of his wife and his children. And on that measure, Charlie was unsurpassed. Erika and her children are in all of our hearts. And of course, this is an incredibly bittersweet moment. It's absolutely bitter because of the murder of our friend Charlie Kirk, an irreplaceable human being. I knew Charlie from the time he was 18 years old, and I watched him build himself into one of the most powerful exponents of conservatism in America, one of the most powerful coalition builders in American history. But it's also sweet to see the number of people who continue to remember Charlie each and every day and to carry on his mission. Well, today, I want to talk about the future of the country. And the future of this country, this amazing country, relies on the future of the conservative movement. It relies on what TPUSA defines as its core mission: freedom, free markets, and limited government. And most of all, the future of this country relies on truth. This country relies on truth because victory, true, real, lasting victory, cannot be achieved without truth. Victory without truth is victory for a lie, and that is no victory at all. And unity without truth is no unity. It is merely solidarity in falsehood. You see, we live in a chaotic time, in a time when lots of people are asking lots of legitimate questions about the conservative movement. What ought we to think about the relationship between free markets and traditional virtue? How should we craft a pragmatic foreign policy that spreads our interests and upholds our ideals? What governmental means are appropriate to achieve political ends? All of these questions aren't new, of course. They've been asked for as long as human beings have been talking about politics, thousands of years. And over the course of this conference, you'll hear a lot of opinions on a lot of these questions. I have my own perspectives on them, of course. You can hear them every single day on my show. My fundamental values have been the same for 25 years. Peace through strength on foreign policy. Traditional values on social policy. Free markets with regard to economics. But today, I want to talk about something even more important: how to discern those attempting to speak truth from frauds and grifters. Because something is new. An informational environment rife with both opportunity and chaos. Opportunity because the legacy media gatekeepers are no longer in charge of what we see and what we hear. And chaos because an anarchic informational environment means we actually have to be smart in how we assess the information and arguments that we hear. Why does that matter? Well, because today the conservative movement is in serious danger.
You see, the first problem that I see here is my understanding is that this was supposed to be a Christian event. So if you're going to talk about truth, Jesus is the truth, the way, the light. What are we talking about? How are you on the stage? So we have a Jew on the stage, a Zionist Jew on the stage, trying to define truth. Maybe it's not a Christian organization. Maybe I'm just off. I want to get grounded on where I'm at here. Like, how do you get on the stage at a Christian organization and talk about the truth in this manner?
It is in danger, not just from a left that all too frequently excuses everything up to and including murder. The conservative movement is also in danger from charlatans who claim to speak in the name of principle, but actually traffic in conspiracism and dishonesty, who offer nothing but bile and despair, who seek to undermine fundamental principles of conservatism by championing enervation and grievance. These people are frauds, and they are grifters, and they do not deserve your time. And they are something worse than that, a danger to the only movement capable of stopping the left from wrecking the country wholesale. So today, I want to discuss 5 obligations that people who speak to you on matters of importance have to you.
So the second interesting thing I see here is it's the opposite of what Matt Walsh said. So I want to know what Matt Walsh thinks on this. Because Matt Walsh, after Charlie got assassinated, said, I'm not, the guys on the right who are flanking me from my right. So when you're looking ahead at your goal, there's other people, or, you know, it's a war term too. They're coming on your sides. So the further right, whether that label is accurate or not, we know he's talking about Groypers and Nick and maybe people are even more right than that. He said, I'm pointing on the left. Now, I don't agree with that, but that's not the point here. I don't agree with it. We're not looking at that anymore. That's not the dichotomy anymore. But that's what Matt Walsh thinks. That's what a lot of these people think. That's a lot of you might think is this right or left thing. Matt Walsh said the people on the right, after he saw what Nick Fuentes did after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, Nick Fuentes was nothing but class and honest with in the aftermath. And I think that impressed Matt Walsh. I don't think Matt Walsh has any beef with people on the right. Matt Walsh himself said, I'm not going to, if I die right now, the people on the right that actually are challenging me right now, they will be nothing but respectful with their faith in my passing and in my name. I see that now. On the left, or if from his perspective, not mine, from his perspective, on the left, they're going to dance on my grave. So I am pointing my ire at them. I've got a problem with them. That's what Matt Walsh said. So first, Ben Shapiro gets on the stage and talks about the truth. What is that? If it's not Jesus, what the hell is it? I mean, it's almost like he's defining being a Jew by saying the truth is anything. You can make the truth anything except for Jesus. So then the second thing he goes to is I'm going to attack those flanking me on my right. Why is that? He is pro Barry Weiss, for example, who just took over the editorial position, I believe it's called, at CBS. He's cool with her. She's a liberal leftist. He's going at people flanking him from his right. Why? What is the point? What is the point of this event? I mean, this could be the DNC at this point. I don't even really see where it would be different.
I want to speak to you about our duties. Our first duty is truth. We owe you the truth. That means we should not mislead you. It means we shouldn't hide the ball. We shouldn't be deliberately obscure about what we're telling you. We have an obligation to clarity and to honesty. This means that we actually have to be clear in the language that we use. We should not traffic in generality. We should not say things like, they shot Charlie, without specifying whom we mean by they. The person who allegedly shot Charlie Kirk, and whom all the evidence points at, all of it, is a gay, trans-loving furry. If we are going to target ideological movements, we should talk.
Why is he so invested in this, in that narrative? If Charlie was really your friend, as you say, you would even phrase it as, I believe that it was this person, but I want all information. I want all facts about this. This is very troubling. Why is he so, he's not just invested in the narrative. I don't know who did what. I don't know who killed. I'm not alleging anything about anybody killing anybody. But why is he so invested, not just in the narrative, but locking the narrative in? As if there's no legit questions about the narrative. Since when do we do that? How is that honoring Charlie? That's what you think Charlie would want, is to be locked in on the narrative? If the narrative was that solid, there wouldn't be any questions. There would be no doubt, no debate, no questions. What's happening at TPUSA in his aftermath, we have Erika Kirk, who has taken the lead as the CEO, and that was the first biggest mistake. There is no political movement ever, period, that can be led by a woman. That makes no damn sense. It's not, we are in a country of millions of men. You've got men already in TPUSA. How does a woman end up in charge of the political movement? This is informational warfare. That's why Alex Jones called his show that, which is a brilliant name. It's InfoWars. That doesn't mean women don't have a role in it as advisors, caring for the family. But very, very important role. Not that women should be put on a pedestal. That's not the right pedestal, though. Why is nobody talking about that? Erika Kirk should resign. She can't handle this. This isn't the right role for her. Clearly. Do you think that Charlie Kirk, if he were alive, that nigga would have pulled Ben Shapiro off the stage like the Sandman at the Apollo? If that shit went down, I mean, obviously he's talking about the Charlie Kirk, but if the same type of thing happened removed from Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro got on the stage and started the speech like that, Charlie Kirk would have came out himself with a cane and come here and drag that nigga straight up off the stage at this moment right now. I guarantee you that. But Erika Kirk, I don't know what she's doing. I don't know where she is. I don't know where the men are at TPUSA. Are the men at TPUSA are watching this? What are you thinking? What is going on in your head? The Christians, the Catholics at Turning Point? There's nobody in the audience that rides with this other than older Zionists, out of touch boomer types. There's nobody under 50 that's vibing with this. This is how you start the event? What is the purpose of this? Complete insanity.
About the fact that the radical trans movement treats all those who oppose it as existential threats. Or if we're going to talk about the Democratic Party making room for the radical trans movement and echoing its inflammatory rhetoric, well, we should talk about that. Those are specific problems, and they require specific responses.
Why the fuck are we talking about trans people? I am so tired of this. I am so tired. I know he's trying to make an analogy. I am tired of talking about, if you want to go put on a dress, I am done. Go put it on. I don't care. Why are we talking? We got other stuff to look at. This is ridiculous. They can't, the whole Daily Wire, that whole team, Matt Walsh, they can't stop talking about trannies. They talk about trannies more than the left does.
When people say they shot Charlie, however, they are instead trafficking in vagary that results in increased hatred without proposing any effective response. They are fostering despair and rage, and that makes things worse. We must also be honest about what people say and do, regardless of what that means coalitionally. It is the job of politicians to build coalitions. It's the job of those of us who try to shape public opinion to hold politicians to account and to hold them accountable to our values. We must not let fear of audience deter us from telling the truth. We must not let fear of other hosts deter us from telling the truth. So, for example, if Candace Owens decides to spend every day since the murder of Charlie Kirk
So you see the rise there is a group of them there, obviously. The Zionists, the whatever. They were happy that he named her name, and I do respect that. I don't like this person. Erika Kirk was doing it for a while. I don't know if she even mentioned Candace before their meeting. And I'm like, just name it. What are we doing here? So at least he did name the name. But it's interesting that the tent now is too wide for Ben Shapiro. Why is the tent too wide for Ben Shapiro now? It's too wide for Ben Shapiro because now it intersects with his interests. Before, there was no problem with how wide the tent was from Ben Shapiro. You could have Amber Rose in the tent, no problem. He was at first pro-vaccine, pro-COVID lockdowns. That perfectly fine. Now that the tent goes into an area where he has concern, now it's too wide.
So, if Candace Owens decides to spend every day since the murder of Charlie Kirk casting aspersions at TPUSA, and the people who work here, who worked with Charlie every single day, his best friends, to cast aspersions at Mikey McCoy, and Andrew Colvin, and Blake Neff, and Tyler Boyer, and yes, at Erika Kirk, and to imply or outright claim complicity in a cover-up over Charlie's murder, to spew absolutely baseless trash, implicating everyone from French intelligence to Mossad to members of TPUSA in Charlie's murder, or a cover-up in that murder, then we, as people with a microphone, have a moral obligation to call that out by name. Erika Kirk and TPUSA never should have been put in the position to have to defend themselves against such specious and evil attacks, particularly in a time of mourning. And the people who refuse to condemn Candace's truly vicious attacks, and some of them are speaking here, are guilty of cowardice. Yes, cowardice. The fact that they have said nothing while Candace has been vomiting all sorts of hideous and conspiratorial nonsense into the public square for years is just as cowardly. Second, because we owe you the truth, we owe you the duty to speak out of principle, not personal feeling. It should not matter whether we despise someone or whether we love someone. The question is what they say and what they do, and whether those things are morally decent or not. On a political level, do they foster freedom, justice, and prosperity? On a personal level, do they treat others as they would wish to be treated? Personal feeling is not a substitute for moral judgment. To take again the Candace Owens situation as an example, friendship with public figures who say or do evil
He's still talking about Candace Owens.
things is not an excuse for silence on the matter. Politics is not the sisterhood of the traveling pants. Politics is about principle, and if you are willing to sacrifice basic truth and simple principle in favor of emotional solidarity, you have betrayed your fundamental duty to the American people.
And it's just so vague as well. So that's how the event started. And of course, Tucker went on right after Ben. And of course, he had to respond. And he had really no choice. I don't like Tucker responding, but how can you blame Tucker responding? I don't know how you could even do it. This clip here is on Tucker on APAC.
Is the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, commonly known as APAC, is them being in America and not registered with FARA like all other lobbying groups in America, is that America first? Is it America first for senators, Congress, and even our president to take money from APAC?
Is it America?
So this is the real reason why Ben Shapiro's going hard at It has nothing to do with Ben Shapiro. Couldn't care less about Charlie Kirk. It has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. It's about now that Charlie's gone, here's where we're seeing things go with no one to stop it.
First, to take money from a foreign lobby so you'll send taxpayer dollars to that country? Even the question kind of answers itself. Obviously, it isn't. And that's not an attack on Israel. It's certainly not anti-Semitism, despite the efforts of many to claim that it is. It's just an obvious statement. And the fact that people are attacked for asking the question, this is something that I talked to Charlie a lot about in his final months, because he was being attacked as an anti-Semite.
Yeah, he actually was. That was a real thing. I talked about that. The first time I heard him get called an anti-Semite was when he was questioning the narrative around October 7th. He said, well, this is the most secure, technologically advanced country in the world. I've been there. It's not feasible for this to have gone down without something nefarious. That's what Charlie Kirk's position was. And I was stunned. Obviously he was pro-Zio. He was a Zio to the hilt. He's got called, and that was the first time I ever heard him called an anti-Semite. And I think it kind of threw him too a little bit. Here's Tucker. Not that I'm for Tucker. So Tucker's not really right, but just to make things linear, he's to the right of Ben Shapiro. Candace is to the right of Ben Shapiro. Then they would put Nick to the right of both of them. But you see, I'm going to play this Tucker clip. So Ben goes after Candace. He goes after Tucker. He goes after Steve Bannon. But in interviews, Tucker goes after Nick. So why is it always, it seems like the arrows are always going to the right. Even after the interview with Tucker and Nick, Tucker goes, he doesn't only go at Nick like Ben pretty much only goes that way with any type of passion, but they still all have they're all aiming their arrows to the right. But here's Tucker after Ben.
I just got here and I feel like I missed the first part of the program. I hope I didn't miss anything meaningful. But I just want to say, I don't think I did. No, I'm just kidding. I watched it. I laughed. That kind of bitter, sardonic laugh that emerges from you when like Upside Down World arrives. When your dog starts doing your taxes and you're like, wait, it's not supposed to work this way. To hear calls for like deplatforming and denouncing people at a Charlie Kirk event, I'm like, what? This is hilarious. Yeah, this is hilarious. Actually, one of the clips I was listening to myself, thinking as I often do when I hear myself speak, which is never, because I never watch myself, but at these events, they always play like the role of you. And I'm like, that guy is pompous. Woo! Sorry about that. We don't see ourselves clearly. But the prediction that, at some point when Republicans took power again, which I did everything I could, to help, and really felt that was important. I still think, I was right. But I really thought that the impulse to deplatform people, or even to use the word platform as a verb, which it's not, it's a noun, don't steal my nouns, deplatform and denounce. Why haven't you denounced somebody else? The whole like Red Guard cultural revolution thing that we so hated and feared on the left that we did everything we could to usher in a new time where you could have an actual debate. I mean, this kind of was the whole point of Charlie Kirk's public life. And I think that he died for it. I really believe that. And I know a lot about it because the last several months of Charlie's life were devoted in part to arguing about this event, in fact, this speech, in fact, my speech here, which he asked me to do earlier this year, this summer, and was immediately put under just immense pressure from people who give money to Turning Point, I would assume good people, but who wanted him to take me off the roster. And this has all become public, and the whole thing is so sad that I never talk about it, except to say Charlie stood firm.
The thing that strikes me here is how much, just from an instinctual manner, Ben Shapiro gets behind the podium, and it's almost like you're here, at least I'll speak for myself, like I'm on edge, like, wait a second, spidey sense start tingling. What's happening here? Somebody, this is not a friendly. Alert, alert. Pay attention. Don't look at your phone. Watch your back. That's the feeling I get when Ben Shapiro gets on the podium. Sit up, look out, look around. Like you got lost and you're in the hood at night. Don't stop at the stoplight. Keep it moving. Don't play around. You're walking in the city at night. You better know what's happening. Don't be alone. What's going on? Tucker is speaking. It's a much different vibe. Much different. Not that I totally trust Tucker, but you can forget about the content. It's more authentic. It's more grounded. It's more welcoming. He's not speaking at me. Very different.
In his often stated and deeply held belief that people should be able to debate, and that if you have something valid to say, if you're telling the truth, you ought to be able to explain it calmly and in detail to people who don't agree with you, and that you shouldn't immediately resort to shut up racist. You shouldn't immediately go to motive. By the way, shut up racist is the #1 reason I voted for Donald Trump. And because I'm just sick of it. I mean, first of all, if I was a racist, if I was a bigot, I would just say so. Okay, it's America. You're allowed to be whatever kind of person you want. I'm not. I'm sincerely opposed, have always been, and will always be. But the style of debate where you prevent the other side from talking or being heard because you immediately go to motive. Well, I wonder why you're asking that question. I wonder why. Why are you asking that question? I detect in the question a certain evil in your soul. And everyone listening should know that listening to you implicates them, and that they someday may be asked to denounce you, and that friendship is not a reason to defend someone.
I've seen a lot of this with this whole friendship thing from the Ben Shapiro side. They're really going hard at that. We talked about it with Dave Smith and Jake Shields. Talked about it with Myron and Nick Fuentes. We're seeing a recurring theme here. They try to do it with Myron and I forgot the name, the fresh guy. They're all over the spectrum. They try to do that. But what I mean, break up friendships.
Love is no defense.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of thought we'd reached the end of that. And as far as I'm concerned, we have. And I'm not going to play by those rules. I'm not going to engage in that. If someone doesn't like what I think, fine with me, as long as I get to express it. That's my view.
So Tucker, I mean, well said by Tucker there. I mean, Tucker's a great orator. I do have some problems with him, but overall, that's a great comment. Let's go to Vivek real quick. I'm going to have to be out in a little bit. I want to do Vivek and then maybe Joel Berry just to get to where this is going. When I first started streaming, I was really into the critical race theory, which is a fascinating topic. Not as much anymore, but this reminds me very much of critical race theory from the standpoint of, in order to kind of control things politically and culturally in the country, there is a hatred of the way the country started, the people who created the country. The most unique, impressive, no country has ever been created in the way, even close to the way that America has, in the courageous, intelligent, God-fearing way that this country has. And it could only have been done, it's only been done, it's factual, by white Christian men. And for some reason, well, we know that's the core of it, the critical race theorists have to attack that to change things. You can't teach that in school. That would be evil. That would be, they would probably call that white supremacy. Ben Shapiro's not a Jewish, I don't use the word supremacy, but just these labels that people use. Ben Shapiro's not a Jewish supremacist, but it would be white supremacy to acknowledge fact. European whites, not the modern day ones, the courageous ones, fled their country for religious reasons. They didn't like the manipulation that was happening there and said, we're going to go to our own place. We're going to start our own place. Beautiful document based on most of the founders, vast majority of them were Christian. And we're going to base the country on that. We're not even going to say you have to be Christian. But the values and the setup of the country will be, obviously, not Judeo-Christianity. Christianity. So how do you attack it? This is the second year in a row. Another guy I used to really like, Vivek. Go back to the channel. I've praised him many times. He's absolute trash. A year ago, he crashed out on the H-1B stuff to support Jeets coming here, basically, to support his version of immigration. And this is the second year in a row around Christmas that he's going at. Really, the message from last Christmas was, whites, you're too dumb and lazy to do some of these roles, so we have to import it from India, a country with some of the lowest IQ, dung-slinging Jeets that you'll ever find. Just the country is a trash dump. So you come from that to have the opportunity here to be a used car salesman, to amass billions of dollars of net worth. And this is the message that you have.
About criticizing the woke left. Now let me get to the harder part. There's a different vision of American identity that's emergent in certain corridors of the online right. And it says that your identity as an American is based on your lineage. how long you have been in the country, your lineage and your genetics tied to the blood and soil of the country determines how American you are. It is the idea of a heritage American that says the truest form of an American is somebody who is a descendant of the American Revolution period or before. And I will tell you this.
Well, let's stop that here. What's the problem with that? I'm new here. You don't have respect for someone whose lineage goes all the way back that far with this country? What are you saying right now? You don't have any respect for that? That doesn't mean everything they say is right, but is that not something to have respect for? Yes, we're relatively new here. My parents were born in Jamaica. I was born here. You can't humble yourself and be grateful for that? And be grateful to those who have ancestors that were here dating back to what, the Mayflower for some people? What is the message here at TPUSA? This is, I mean, this is worse than the Democrat National Convention.
And your genetics tied to the blood and soil of the country determines.
And it shouldn't be surprising. These guys are Democrats or leftists. These guys are not real leftists, but you know, like they're corporate leftists. Vivek Ramaswamy is a leftist. Elon Musk is a leftist. JD Vance is a leftist. The corporate leftist, the corporate neocon, neoliberal. That's what these guys are. They're snakes. What is this take?
Of the online right. And
as if there's something nefarious going on. Oh, there's this online right that has a conspiracy that we should respect those whose ancestors date back to when the ships came. Oh, what is this?
In certain corridors of the online right. And it says that your identity as an American is based on your lineage. That how long you have been in the country, your lineage and your genetics tied to the blood and soil of the country determines how American you are. It is the idea of a heritage American that says the truest form of an American is somebody who is a descendant of the American Revolution period or before. And I will tell you, this idea of the heritage American, we ought to have this discussion. It's becoming more popular. I think the idea of a heritage American is about as loony as anything the woke left has actually put up. There is no American who is more American than somebody else. The American quality, it's not like the left, they believe in this non-binary stuff. There's no non-binary American. It is binary. Either you're an American or you're not. And you think about it, I could prove this to you. Thank you. I'll take some applause on that. If you really believe in this idea, think about where it leads you. It leads you to believe that Donald Trump is less of an American than Joe Biden because Donald Trump's mother was an immigrant and his grandfather was an immigrant. That doesn't make any sense. Leads you to believe that somehow Bernie Sanders is more of an American than Senator Bernie Moreno from my home state, an America First patriot, because Bernie Moreno was a naturalized citizen from Colombia.
I'm going to look, Tim Pool actually had a great take on this, and it's good to kind of, it actually hurts me to have to really criticize, you know, a guy I used to respect very much, Tim Pool, but he actually had a great, I think a great, and he likes Vivek, he's cool with Vivek, a great response to this. This is troubling. I mean, this is really troubling. What is the purpose of this? He is getting on the stage and selling you, MAGA, on immigration. That's what this is. So he's not selling it on what Biden's version was 10 million just crossing over the water or whatever, or even just signing up on the app and coming here. They both agree with the immigration stuff. They just want to do it a little bit different. They have interest with India. We want more of them here. We want more Chinese here. Donald Trump just made a deal to send over 600,000 Chinese here. So they don't do it the same way, but they all support it. I'm going to finish this and then look for that Tim Pool one, for Tim Pool comment.
Makes you think that Marco Rubio, our great Secretary of State, is somehow less of an American than Elizabeth Warren because she's a Native American, which we all know, right? Doesn't make any sense. It's loony. money.
You see what he does is he tries to put it like, okay, you don't like Elizabeth Warren, so let me put that contrast there to force you to agree with me. No, that's not the take. You're arguing a straw man argument.
It's crazy talk.
How do you have someone come here from another country and not be grateful to those who effing built the country? How does that happen? It's like going over to somebody's house and not being respectful to the work that they put in, or even if they never worked, the family that handed the money down to give them the house, to hand the house down in death or whatever. You have to respect that. What do you mean? Or get out the house. You don't have to respect it, but don't be in the house and disrespect it. I mean, this is straight up leftism type of stuff. I don't know. I don't have the vocabulary to describe it. This is what I consider from the left. At TPUSA, Charlie Kirk is rolling over in his grave right now.
It makes you believe that somehow I am less of an American than the transgender criminal who assassinated Charlie Kirk. We refuse to accept that. The idea that a heritage American is any more American than another American is un-American at its core. And I will fight to the very end for that, because that's what it means to be an American. We believe in ideals. That is who we are.
That's the stage we're in. Let me hear Tim's response, and I'll get to Joe Barry.
I think the idea of American at its core, in ideals. That is who we are.
So take a look at where AmFest is going and where the right is going. And it is very, very easy to understand. And I will explain it all to you. We have no babies.
Yes.
We are missing a major portion of our entry-level labor market. Universities are starting to collapse because there's no matriculation. That's your word, remember? It means entering university. Because in 2008 with the financial crash, people like me didn't have babies. So now we have a generation half the size as the previous generation. The powers that be want immigrants in this country. They don't care about baseball and apple pie.
Preach.
They don't care about truth, justice, in the American way. Those are secondary to graph go up. I believe this is the direction of the Republican Party. Republicans and Democrats together are going to make as many arguments as they can that everyone is an American. And I will explain it to Vivek. I like Vivek. First, a heritage American in the lightest example is not as he described. That Joe Biden's family was here longer than Trump, so he's more American. That's not the argument. The argument is if your grandparents were here, you are a heritage American, which means even starting today, if a family comes here and they have kids and those kids are raised, they're saying it's like third generation, basically, people who have stronger ties to the country and what it was built out to be. It doesn't mean before the Revolutionary War that is a straw man. There's an argument from people who are saying, my grandfather helped build Town Hall. They brought in Haitian migrants into my town, and now they're voting against me. My family fought and died for my ability to have a good life. That's the argument.
Ooh, that's really good. It's a little off, but I don't want to even focus on that. Just a little off for me. It doesn't matter that it's a little bit off where I'm at. You hear the intent from Tim Pool, which is rare from I rarely hear this from him nowadays. This is surprising to me. This intent is exactly what I was trying to get at. He's explaining to Vivek, wait a second, if I say this, do you agree with me or not, Vivek? That's why these people don't do debates like that. Now, Vivek has in the past, but you at TPUSA, you've got Candace, she's not there, but that's a good point. How do you even name somebody who's not even at the event? Like that's poor form. You don't invite, you got to have a reason to sit down and debate instead of going on a podium to just take pot shots. But Ben Shapiro, Steve Bannon, Tucker Carlson, Posebek, Megyn Kelly, they're all there. Why don't we get a panel with them? But if you look at it, Tim Pool was not invited. Maybe that's why he's speaking out. But look.
First, a heritage American in the lightest example is not as he described. That Joe Biden's family was here longer than Trump, so he's more American. That's not the argument.
I don't know if I would use the word more American, but there's more respect from that standpoint. Yeah, the lineage goes back further. I mean, so that's the little bit off, but let's get back to it.
The argument is, if your grandparents were here, you are a heritage American, which means even starting today, if a family comes here and they have kids and those kids are raised, they're saying it's like third generation, basically, people who have stronger ties to the country and what it was built out to be. It doesn't mean before the Revolutionary War that is a straw man. There's an argument from people who are saying, my grandfather helped build Town Hall. They brought in Haitian migrants into my town, and now they're voting against me. My family fought and died for my ability to have a good life. That's the argument.
Just well said. Just well said by Tim Pool. Let me go to Joel Berry, and then let's see. Hopefully I can do some comments and be out. I think I bookmarked it. Let me see if I can find it. And this is the reason I'm bringing up Joel Berry now. This is off of TPUSA, but you can see them going after. Oh my goodness, I did not bookmark it. You can see them going after the founding of this country. That's what they're going after. I don't know why the search is so much better for me on the phone than the website, but that's how it works sometimes. So let me find it and bookmark it, then I'll get it here in a second. So I think this is, in my opinion, more Jew manipulation is just goy slop that they feed us like it's McDonald's food. That's what they're doing here. Here's Joel Berry of the Babylon Bee, and I was aware of this because I had seen this quote before, so I knew what to look up. So Joel Berry has a post here, and he says, affection for the Jewish people has been in America's Christian DNA since the founding. Again, Nicole Hannah-Jones going at the founding, Vivek Ramaswamy going after the founding. That's going after white Christian men. That's what it is. So Nicole Hannah-Jones, Vivek Ramaswamy, Joel Berry. So why are they doing Nicole Hannah-Jones? I don't know. I actually don't know. Vivek Ramaswamy, probably for Jewish donors. Joel Berry, obviously for the Zionist side of things. Has a quote of George Washington: may the children of the stock of Abraham who dwell in this land continue to merit and enjoy the goodwill of the other inhabitants, while everyone shall sit in safety under his own vine and fig tree, and there shall be none to make him afraid. May the Father of all mercies scatter light and not darkness upon our paths, and make us all in our several vocations useful here, and in his own due time and way everlasting happy. Man, they knew how to write back in the day. Man, just really powerful. We don't have that anymore. May the children of the stock of Abraham. He's not talking about the modern day Jew. And you read the quote and understand the quote. Nobody's wishing harm upon the Jew. He's just saying you can enjoy the goodwill of the other inhabitants that we created. So so Joel's trying to position this as affection for the Jew. No, that's not affection for the Jew. That's not George Washington co-signing. So he's trying to say George Washington is co-signing affection for the Jew in our relationship currently today. George Washington would crash the hell out if he was alive today, seeing the relationship we have with Jews right now. He would crash the hell out. Then they go to John Adams. John Adams, this would be personal for John Adams because John Adams got hoodwinked by the Jew. So this is even worse. The John Adams quote is worse. He got hoodwinked by the banker, by the merchants to promote and start and basically help create the central banking system that Andrew Jackson, one of the greatest presidents of all time, fought to break down. The only president to successfully do that. This John Adams would be beyond crashing out right now to see this. The relationship with the country, the Jews, and to have a Zionist in the country take his quote and slice out a very important part of it to manipulate it nowadays for a mistake that he made, which I don't fault him for in the past, because he talked about it. Unbelievable stuff. I should do a whole breakdown on that. I'll give you an AI slap video on that. So I can do it while I'm in the car or something. I do some of those AI slap videos in the car, believe it or not. I will insist, this is John Adams' quote, I will insist the Hebrews have contributed more to civilized men than any other nation. If I were an atheist and believed in blind eternal fate, I should still believe that fate had ordained the Jews to be the most essential instrument for civilizing nations. They are the most glorious nation that ever inhabited this earth. The Romans and their empire were but bubble in comparison to the Jews. They have given religion to 3/4 of the globe and have influenced the affairs of mankind more happily than any other nation, ancient or modern. All he's basically doing there is the same thing I say. They're very smart, very talented, a group of people, a stock of genetics, DNA to be respected. Do not underestimate the Jew. I've been saying that. That's basically my interpretation of that. But interestingly enough, if you go to look up the quote, because a lot of these memes, I look it up just to see what's true, and I looked this. Well, this was years ago because people have been posting that meme. A part of the same statement, it was a letter that John Adams wrote. Quote: this was taken out of the quote. John Adams also said in the same quote that was spliced out, I can't say that I love the Jews very much neither, nor the French, nor the English, nor the Romans, nor the Greeks. We must love all nations as well as we can, but it's very hard to love most of them. Basically saying, I respect their intelligence, their ability to build societies. That's what Nick Fuentes was saying on with PBD. PBD kind of did a good, I think he was trying to get that out of Nick to get a quote, a clippable segment. And Nick said something to the effect of, I think it was, I forgot the context. Would you rather live with a Jew or a Muslim or something like that? And I think Nick said Jews or something like that. I don't have it right here. But basically he was saying the same type of thing that John Adams was saying. Well, that's not his full take though. There's a larger take than that. Would I rather live by the Jews than the blacks in the hood? Yeah, I'd probably rather live by the Jews. What's your point? Is that contradictory to anything I stated? So I just wanted to show that. And the point of showing that is they have to attack white Christian males. And it's just overt, clear, see, they do it harder than the left does nowadays. I don't even see that stuff from the left anymore. Not from like the 1619 Project. It's not blown up like that anymore. It's all the right attacking white Christians. Cyan stopped by. What's good? The figures I'm an hour late, but not $1 short. Cyan, a great friend of show. Appreciate you. I'm about to be out. Let's see. Never too late for Cyan to come by. I still haven't put you in a song though, Cyan. I gotta get my song game up, man. I've seen some groypers doing like the AI songs that I do, and they package it so well. I'm like, I gotta get my marketing up, man. And they got funnier lyrics and stuff. I'm going for a little bit more too serious, but that's just my style. But I gotta put you in the song, Cyan. I guess I have to feed the AI and write the lyrics for it to make sense. It takes a little bit of time. Nick Fuentes is not worthy of quoting. Interesting. This is a pro America First Nick Fuentes channel. I ordered a hat. I still haven't got it yet. Nick, where's my hat? I got to replace this Officer Tatum hat I got. Nick has a bunch of gear. I got I don't even remember. I think I might have got 2 hats. Because I couldn't decide between the classic. You got to get the classic blue and white. And then I think I did get the camouflage with the neon orange, which I liked. Let's see here. Blame them. Can you blame them for not? Yes, absolutely. I can blame them. Why wouldn't Candace be invited? This is from Boss 24 Gaming. So here's if I'm running TPUSA, I'm getting it out to the people. If they are not here at the event, do not name them on my stage. That's not going to happen here. Don't come. If you name them while you're on the stage, I'm coming up on the stage and we're going to have a conversation in front of everybody. Why would you name Candace Owens and Candace Owens isn't invited? It's a right-wing event. It's not like the DNC. The DNC wouldn't invite Candace Owens. You're flanking from the right. If you're going to attack anyone, and I don't care if they're left or right, if I'm doing the event, like if you're going to attack Crystal Ball, I'm not a Crystal Ball fan, but if she's not invited, So if you are going to name somebody by name or subliminally diss, make sure you let me know and I will invite them. And then, so if Candace Owens was invited and she turned down the invitation, fair game. We say, name her, do whatever you need to do. Do your jokes, whatever. Yeah, I can blame him for not inviting Candace. Erika Kirk went to meet with Candace. Candace was cool with Charlie. She's spoken at the events before. Well, why wouldn't she be invited? Tucker's there. Why wouldn't Candace be there? She's the biggest, other than Nick Fuentes. And the funny thing is, I didn't even get into this. Nick Fuentes was the elephant in the room the whole damn show. But if Tucker's invited, why wouldn't Candace be invited? That makes absolutely no sense. So yeah, I can fault them for that. That's what you have, a woman in charge, and there's no Charlie Kirk wouldn't want this. So I absolutely do blame them for that. Cyan says $2 super chat. Thank you. Says hit the ball out of the park with Go Home. Oh, thanks. Yeah, the song Go Home. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's I'm looking at him like, damn, the lyrics aren't as clear. Maybe. Let me see how much time I have. I might be running low, but I might go. What she's talking about is the songs I've been doing. It's just for fun. It's really fun. But yeah, I am out of time. So yeah, I'm gonna be out. I'll probably play the Go Home, and let me find it here, and I'll be out with it. It's just it's like a R&B song. I have a playlist on here for Index Red Records. I can't even find my own. What is going on? I don't even know where. Oh, this is it. I'm out. Appreciate you, Saya.
Lights dim low in the room we share. Promises hang heavy in the air. Shape we chased, now it slips through the seam. Veins that won't yield, lost in the dream. You came with a smile that lit up the night. Talked of the home we built side by side. But the roots you brought tangled the ground we tried. Hid the shadows you carried inside. I trust the walls, we'll let them stand open wide. Welcome the step that felt like a stride. Now the quiet creeps and the trust starts to slide. Whispers of crimes you won't confide. From the edge of the gate to the heart of the fold, billions slip silent, stories untold. Faith steady line drawn in the sand we hold. Time to see what the heart can't fold. Index red traces the tear in the thread. A murmur in the mist, heavy with dread. This veins running dry, and I'm falling deep. I know you wanna simulate, so go home where the secrets you keep on sleep. No storm in the silence, just the soul's quiet plea. If you blend it true, no crimes you conceal from me. Like you slinging anti-Semitic, and a woman crooning kiss songs, or a land nomad ignoring her people's screams while she scams the system for her own. Applies to the wanderers from sands far and wide. Anyone crossing the tide, yeah, we build from the break of like it's ready to learn and just wait. Whispering watch to the watchful light. No blade in the braid, just the rhythm soft retort. Ideas carved where the illusions fall short. Convictions calm fire, burning the bluff slow. From the fracture we rise, letting go. Veins settle dust. On the path we reclaim. In the unbent wire, we whisper your name.